live on a thirsty Thursday in the expansion type energy. I am your hostess with the mostest, the High Priestess Phoenix. I am your spiritual healer, teacher, shaman, seer, oracle, lightworker, starseed, earth angel, mystic, medium, psychic, witch, yogi, guru, evangelist, North American Sybil. I am your messenger of God, the first child of God, the Lilith reincarnated. I would say in order to keep up with me, you'd have to something and some more shit, but I'm going to try to start something new. I mean, there's some cards up there that some people should recognize, and then there's a whole bunch of nothing that you never knew before. What are we going to talk about tonight? Reincarnation? Science? The science of reincarnation, but also science. Tonight's teachings are going to be from Seer Krsna, which in essence comes from Vishnu. There's a different patriarchy in the Hindu gods and beliefs, and you know how they work and whatnot. So there's this guy, and I never pronounce his name properly, who delivered the Krsna teachings. And he started a whole institute, right? So it's a bunch of the Krsna teachings, and I have quite a few of them. We're going to talk about reincarnation. As I tell everybody, I am a reincarnated soul. What's the difference between me and you? I know, and you don't. That's all. I know what you don't. There's lots of science about it. It's called something similar to the Akashic Records. There's a record of all the lives you've had and all the things you've done and what you're here to do. Simplistically, you can use Vedic, again from these guys, Vedic astrology, which I'm currently teaching you, through Metatron, which is quantum physics or quantum realms, showing you the planetary involvement. But based on Vedic astrology, you have access to your previous lives, or at least traits, and you have a blueprint for what you're here to do with this one. I am a fully awoken soul, so that means I know what I was not only before incarnating in this life, but all my other incarnations. Now, here's the difference. I didn't get a new life. I didn't get to wear a new skin, right, this time. I had to relive an old life, and that's why I tell you I am the Lilith reincarnated. Now, as total science to Hindu teachings, and as well as the Melchizedek, once you've gotten to a place like me in this lifetime, it is your job to piece together all of those other lifetimes and become whole once more. It takes many years or many lifetimes of mastery, but I've already been an ascended master in many of my other lives. As Isis, as Kuan Yin, I've ascended. Now, these particular layers of myself, the Dark Goddess, for all obvious reasons, didn't make it to the light because they hadn't learned their lessons. If you would say they, you would say me. All throughout time, I had low vibrational karma still attached to different areas in time, which I had to put in, because the original blueprint of it is Lilith was all, and as she, just as every child is when you're first born, your first life, you're all of everything, and you start to, balance that stuff out. So first I was light, and then I was all dark. And then throughout the lifetimes, I ascended to the light, but I still had darkness to overcome as well. Balancing this, that, and the other. So now we complete all of those lives. I call it, they call it, integrate. I integrate my past lives into this life, learning the karmas and reliving those lessons in this lifetime, so that I can put all of my pieces together in this lifetime and ascend wholly, and not have any leftover or residual energy here. But that's what we're doing. Now, that's me. By the time I got this book, I had already awoken to the fact. I knew who I was. By the time I got this book, I think I already had 2 of my past lives, at least within me. I already knew about the Morgan, and I already knew about Lilith by then. Then came the bridge. What came after bridge? I'm not sure. I want to say Medusa, but maybe not. I feel like Medusa didn't come till much later. But how it is, you know, what happened was that past life, that whole timeline, incorporated into this life, and I started living out that timeline, as well as, you know what I mean, that higher self here. I'm going to try to explain some of that to you guys throughout these books. Anybody that wants to try to understand it, it's the science of reincarnation. Okay, I'm going to start with the introduction, and that's why you have this picture. Do you see that? The virtuous man. Okay, so there he is there. Here he is here. Okay? In my search for the secret of life, I ended up with the atoms and electrons, which have no life at all. Somewhere along the line, life has run out through my fingers. Okay? It's just a saying. Now, the mystery of consciousness. Now, in all of my videos I've been telling you lately, I am in a higher state of consciousness. I'm outside of conscious. I work through the unconscious. I had to go through the workings of the conscious to get to the unconscious. The unconscious is, they could say, the cosmic conscious, or it's what the soul is made out of. The conscious is separate. The conscious is nothing more than the brain, the programming. I call it the matrix of the mind. Alright? The mystery of the conscious. Death. Man's most mysterious, relentless, and inevitable adversary. They say this, like, these lives that we're living right now are some of the, you know, smallest lives. But before, oh gosh, before he started cutting our lives down, we lived for fucking hundreds of years. In just one life. Just one. Does death mean the end of life, or does it merely open the door to another life, another dimension, another world? If a man's consciousness survives the death experience, then what determines its transition to new realities? In order to gain a clear understanding of these mysteries, man has traditionally turned to enlightened philosophers, accepting their teachings as representative of a higher truth. Some criticize the methods of acquiring knowledge from higher authority, no matter how carefully the seeker may analyze it. Social philosopher E.F. Schumacher, author of Small is Beautiful, notes that our modern society, when people are out of touch with nature and traditional wisdom, they consider it fashionable to ridicule and only believe in what they see and touch and measure. The basis of what I teach everyone is how to pull out of the matrix, how to pull out of the flesh, is to go back into nature. We were created of the dust and the dirt. So once you return to which you have come from, back in. I have many videos of how this changes your connection, your consciousness, how you have a different experience when you're in nature, instead of being like this. Alright? Or, as the saying goes, seeing is believing. But when man endeavors to understand something beyond the scope of the material senses, beyond instruments of measurement and faculty of mental speculation, then there is no alternative but to approach a higher source of knowledge. No scientist has successfully explained through laboratory investigations the mystery of consciousness or its destination after the destruction of the material body. Yeah, but I can show them I'll be able to show them. I can see it. I've had these visions of it, that they have the proper technology to watch it through me, the unconscious movement. Meaning they know that, they know how the brain works. I don't use that. I mean, they'll see the typical brain movement, but they'll see the phenomenon is what the word they're giving me. Research in this field has produced many divergent theories, but their limitation must be recognized. That's how the lady in the Palladian found out. She was studying the dolphins the dolphin minds. For example, perfect example, they sleep with half of their brain on and half of it off. Okay? In the essence, they're conscious, but they're in the unconscious at the same exact time. She started evaluating shit like that. And that's what can happen, is you're able to, and that's what we say in my books, where you're able to literally, you know what I mean, go from the conscious out of the conscious. I've had many videos of this. I was like, I wasn't even in the fucking body. I wasn't even in my body when that happened. And that's, you know, the limitations of your mind. Once you leave that, oh man, you are free. Alright, if we are to understand, the somatic principles of reincarnation, on the other hand, comprehensively explain the subtle laws governing our past, present, and future lives. If we are understanding reincarnation at all, we must acknowledge the fundamental concept of consciousness as an energy distinct from and superior to the matter composed of the physical body. The principle is supported by examination of unique thinking, feeling, and willing capacities of the human being. Can DNA strands or other genetic components possibly induce the feeling of love and respect one person has for another? What atoms or molecules are responsible for the subtle artistic nuance in Shakespeare's Hamlet or Bach's Mass in B minor? Man and his infinite capabilities cannot be explained by mere atoms and molecules. Einstein, the father of modern physics, admitted that the conscious could not be adequately described in terms of physical phenomenon. I believe that the present fashion of applying to axioms of science to human life is not only entirely a mistake, but also has some reprehensible in it. The great scientist once said, "Indeed, scientists have failed to explain consciousness by means of physical law that govern everything else with their purview." As a master manifester, this is where I blow it all out. How I can show them, you know what I mean? Frustration from the falling. Albert so-and-so, a Nobel laureate, in physiology and medicine, once laminated, "In my search for the secret of life, I end up with atoms and electrons which have no life at all. Somewhere along the line, life has run through my fingers, so in my old age, I am now retracting my steps." Accepting the notion that conscious arises from the molecule interaction requires an enormous leap of faith. It's quite interesting because that's what we started with Metatron. He was trying to tell us that everything's created of atoms, which is nothing more than they were nucleus with molecules and all this crap. And he's trying to explain this, but we're definitely, haven't painted that picture. Or maybe you have in your mind. But it's trying to say is like saying that this is what creates consciousness is a huge leap of faith. Much greater than required for a metaphysical explanation. As Thomas Huxley, a leading biologist of this day and contemporary of Charles Darwin, said, "It seems to me pretty plain that there is a third thing in the universe, to wit, conscious, which I cannot see to be matter or force of any conceivable modification of either." Further recognition of the unique properties of consciousness was given by Nobel laureate in physics Niels Bohr, who remarked, "We can admittedly find no physics or chemistry that has even a remote bearing on consciousness." They can't. Hence, consciousness must be part of nature, or, more generally, a reality, which means that quite apart from the laws of physics and chemistry, as laid down in quantum theory, we must also consider laws of quite a different kind. Such laws must well include the laws of reincarnation, which govern the passage of conscious from one physical body into another. To begin understanding these laws, we must note that reincarnation is not alien, antipodal event, but one that occurs with regularity in our own bodies during this very lifetime. The human brain professor John Pfeiffer notes, "Your body does not contain a single one of the molecules that it contained 7 years ago. Every 7 years, one body is completely rejuvenated. The self, however, our real identity, remains unchanged." Bullshit, bro. Bullshit. I changed my whole self. 100. We took every piece of that conscious, every way it thought, every way it believed. We took that thing apart, bro. Fucking thought by thought. But that's also the thing, is it's completely rejuvenated. And that's how I can do that, is because I heal my mind, so I heal my body. Benjamin Button, like. Our bodies grow from infancy to youth to middle age and then old age. Yet person within the body, I, always remains the same. And that's the inner, that's the inner youthfulness. You're not a child, you're just youthful. I always say this, you're typically between the age of 13 and 19. If your soul stayed in age, imagine yourself in that age. That's the soul, that's what you'll be outside of this body. I mean, you won't look like this. Your identity is not the body you're wearing. Have you ever seen the movie Cocoon? It's a very old movie, but that's what we are, which is a white light. What is that light? It's a fragment of a star, planet, whatever you want. Reincarnation based on the principle of a conscious self, independent, meaning once you're out of the body, and that's why I can't see myself in this body, it's just skin. I can't see myself, I can just see the skin I'm wearing. That's not me, it's just the skin I'm wearing. The chariot, the body I came in on. I've had many bodies, some of them way more beautiful than this. And then you think about Medusa. I was so beautiful before I became that. I never, I don't know why they visualized me in such ways. As far as Lilith, as this, winged beast. Did I have wings? Yes, indeed. All angels do. I reinstated them, obviously. You'll see in every scripture I had my wings, but Isis didn't. I didn't have them as, as anything else. As Morgan, I was able to shift back into the animal forms that I had already been in all of my other lifetimes. Reincarnation, based on the principle of a consciousness self-independent of the physical body, is part of a higher order system governing the living being's transmigration from one material form to another. Since reincarnation deals with the most essential self, it is the subject of the utmost reverence to everyone. Socrates to Salinger, reincarnation. Finding myself to exist in a world, I believe I shall, in some shape or another, always exist, said Benjamin Franklin. Can I tell you something that I've told many of my readers? Benjamin Franklin later became Albert Einstein. It was his later incarnation. That's who I always talk about all the time. It's Big Ben. And Albert Einstein needs to get in the shower! Sorry. Yep. I know their past lives. How? God told me. I can't tell you who you are, but I needed to know who they were, so they knew who they were. He wanted them to know who they were. My son is Albert Einstein, reincarnated. Big Ben. My daughter is Joan of Arc, reincarnated. I am the Lilith. If you put those three together, you understand why we are a family, why we're here during these times. And he does have that goofy-ass fucking crazy hair. Look, he even had it back then. Benjamin Franklin had the goofy hair, too. Put some electricity in it. This guy. His hair. I'm trying to... God, cut your hair. Anyways. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain where his body is slain. Stop. That's why I'm able to speak with the spirit world. And not just the spirit world, but all beings. Because I'm not limited by my physicality. If I was limited to my skin, then I could only meet a person here and shake their hand and talk to them via the internet or something like that. That would be the limit of my communications in 3D. 3D communications are limited to X, Y, and Z. If I want to have telepathic communications, you know what I mean, of any sort, this is, again, outside of the conscious mind. This isn't something the conscious mind can do. It's an unconscious connection with the unconscious of another. Can you connect consciously with someone else? Yeah, you do it all the time. You do it all the no. You have an unconscious connection with them. You're consciously denying it. No, that's not real. You can look at a person and you see what they're thinking by the way they look at you. Yes, you can see it. It's written all over their face. That is an unconscious exchange. There's nothing in the 3D giving you that information. That's unconscious. That's beyond your thoughts. That's an inner knowing of what that is. It's not judgment. You're not wrong. You're like, they don't like me. You know if they don't like you. You know if they don't like you. That bitch is giving me an ugly look. The question is it personal? Or is that bitch just got an ugly, does she have a different energy on her? And you just saw the energy on her. That's where you can start to understand these interactions. Just want to explain that to you. It's like, because I'm not limited to the 3D interactions, I can have 5D interactions with, as you call them, dead people. Hawk's soul may have left that body, but the soul is there to connect at anyone that's, that is in a soulful place, in the quiet place. They say in the quiet place of your mind, which is outside of your conscious. When you connect with, in prayer, if you're a religious person, you close your eyes. You put your mind, you visualize who you're praying to. You put a vision inside. You take deep breaths, you speak slow, and you cast out intentions or thoughts quietly, or you speak loud. Most people pray inside of their head. They don't pray out loud, right? So they pray inside your head. That's a unconscious conversation that you're having, but it's limited to your conscious understanding. What that means is you can't hear them talking back like I can. But I'm not the only one. There's many mediums. These are just people that can tap into the unconscious, which is soul. They can tap into souls outside of the form. Outside of the form. Does life begin with birth and end with death? Have we lived before? Such questions are normally identified with religions of the East, where the life of a man is known to endure not only from the cradle to the grave, but through million ages, and the acceptance of the idea of rebirth is nearly universal. As Arthur Schopenhauer, the great, what is it? Hold on, I'm getting a download. Okay. The great 19th century German philosopher once observed, we are Azaic to ask me for the definition of Europe. I should be forced to answer him. It is part of the world which is haunted by the incredible delusion that man was created out of nothing, and that his present birth is the first entrance into life. This is your first time alive. There's no part of you that resonates with an older time, even since you were little, that you had ties to a different time. Like, you listen to old music, you like vintage shit, like you're like old school in some kind of way. You have like these really weird old traits to you. My daughter is 13 and she, like, all the old people gravitate to her, and she just always has. Her dad has it too. It just that people can't connect with him. Like his dad, like, not normally, he's a weirdo, but older people can have a connection with him, and he can relate to older people.
What's happening?
Right? So as I say this to you, do you resonate with a different time? Is there a part of you that feels like an older soul? Probably. Now that's your cue. What time? What time calls to you? If you go to that time, you'll start to know more about that time and know more about you. If I had to go back, my very first awakening, my very first time lapse, I was in 6th grade. We were studying the medieval times. I aced it, dude. I mean, it was amazing. I did I did presentations on the torture chambers and how how they handled punishment, crime and punishment back then. But then we also had what was called a medieval feast. So it was like we were going to come together and have this like little dance, and everybody was supposed to dress up in the medieval times. My mom took me to my favorite costume store to this day that I love and I take my kids to. And we rented a costume. It was a beautiful medieval gown, bright pink, huge. She put my hair up. I had the, the Shirley Temple little curls going on and everything. And there was something about that experience that I can feel still to this day. And when I did it, it was like during that whole time of learning about it, I was just so engulfed in it. Little did I know until now, that was the last time I was alive, was the 1700s, and was over on that side. So all of that was my culture. I was reliving my culture from my very first life, or from my very last life. Great times. And so they can be very activated. You know what I mean? Mr. Plum, I watched his become activated. You know what I mean? He had no knowing to his tie, yet he still kept having this dream. And it's like, that was your last life, dude. Alright, let's keep going. Indeed, the dominant ideology of the West, material science, for the several centuries stifled any serious or widespread interest of the pre-existence and survival of consciousness beyond the present body. And that's what I used to ask Mr. Plum, where the hell do you go when you die? He's like, to Abraham's bosom. Huh? It's a resting place. Huh? Until the final judgment. Okay, I get that. I had to literally be explained that when I was on the other side of heaven and wondering where everybody was. I had a big fat cry and realized that that's the truth. It really is. There's all the souls have not entered into the kingdom yet. Jesus opens the gate. I didn't know. I'm like, well, where are all these people that I see every day? How come I can see them? Where's this place that your books say that they go? I'm like, it's right fucking here. There's no bosom other than mine. I mean, just saying. And it just means in the chest plate, which was, in the heart. If you think about it, what was he meaning, the bosom? Your heart, right? I don't know. Unless you got, like, bobhead bitch tits type shit. Forgive me. Here comes the dark. Alright, but throughout Western history, there have always been thinkers who have understood and affirmed the immortality of conscious. There's so many stories of children, especially. They remember their past lives, bro. There's so many stories. You have to Google them. They even remember who killed them. Crazy shit, bro. It's so true. And transmigration of the soul. And a multitude of philosophers, authors, artists, scientists, and politicians have given the idea thoughtful consideration. Ancient Greece. Among the ancient Greeks, Socrates, Pythagoras, and Plato may be numbered among those who made reincarnation an integral part of their teachings. At the end of his life, Socrates said, I am confident that there truly is a such thing as a living again, and that the living spring from the dead. Pythagoras claimed he could remember his past lives, and Plato presented detailed accounts of reincarnation in his major works. Briefly, he held that the pure soul falls from the plane of absolute reality because of sensual desire and then takes on physical body. Why? We want to know what it feels like. Why did we take form? To feel what it felt like, the experience. What a fucking stupid idea that was, right? I was the first to fall for that stupid shit. Talk about the fallen. The fallen soul first takes birth in human form, the highest of which that of the philosopher who strives for higher knowledge. If his knowledge becomes perfect, the philosopher can return in an external existence. But if he becomes hopelessly entangled in material desire, he descends into the animal species of life. And that's it. You either ascend or descend. What happened to my mom? She got reincarnated in my dog. Are you serious? I've told everyone this since the fucking beginning. I even named her that. That's Nana. My mom, bro. My mom was a dog in life. She was not loyal. She was not caring. She didn't, you know what I mean? So now she had to do that. Nope. That's where she is. She's a dog. She's a good dog, so maybe next time she'll be a better person. Plato believes that gluttons and drunkards become asses in future lives. Violent and unjust people may take birth as wolves or hawks, and blind followers of social convention may become bees or ants. After some time, a soul again attains the human form and another chance to achieve liberation. Some scholars believe that Plato and other early Greek philosophers derived their knowledge of reincarnation from mysterious religions like, ooh, we haven't learned this one, Orphicism. Hey, write that down. Orphicism. Hey, can you Google this?
I can't.
Oh, you got 2 phones running and you can't Google? Orphicism. Or from India. I've never heard that. Have you heard that?
How do you spell it?
Here, you spell it. Orphism.
I'm not even done with the first couple letters.
Oh.
Oh, what?
Orphism.
What?
Yeah.
I want you to spell it because it takes so long and then you get mad at me.
It doesn't take long if you're listening, but you're not listening.
My brain doesn't work like that.
Fair enough. I'll take that answer. Orphanism, as we're talking about brain workings. Your phone's dying too. Okay, well, we'll wait for that fucking to load. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. We got a bunch of those books down here we're trying to kind of crack into. You're cracking my balls on this one. Hints of reincarnation are also common in the history of Judaism and early Christianity. Information about past and future lives is found throughout the Kabbalah, which, according to many Hebraic scholars, represents the hidden wisdom behind the scriptures. In the Zohar, which I told you I don't have, one of the principal Kabbalistic texts, it is said the soul must re-enter the absolute substance whence they have emerged. According to what I'm teaching you through the Kabbalistic studies, this is how it works. You come from here and you take on all of these layers, which again are planets that go back to astrology. Did something pop up? Vedic astrology.
20th century art movement in ancient Greek movement.
It was an art movement?
Something about
that studied what? Oops. Let's see. Robert some styles of abstract and art characterized by vibrant colors, fragment forms, focus on expressive power of color, often compared to musical harmony. Dude, I told you, and that's where Metatron's got me in such weird. This is before words, bro. Colors, sounds, frequencies. I shared a video. It's not going anywhere because it was limited based on what I shared, but there is an extremely important short. It's limited. It showed me the reach is limited, but it's for me and anybody that really cares. And it's teaching about music activation. Alright, let me go here. Oh yeah, so you take on all of these layers. Now, in order to be like me, you have to take off all the layers. So going back to it, the soul must re-enter the absolute substance from whence it had emerged. So I'm teaching you that you're supposed to make the climb, but the climb is actually the descent according to Dante's Inferno. It's the same exact map, and that's what it is. Where am I currently? I'm currently consciously right here. It's not that I'm not here. I can access God. You know, this is just the seraphim, and then there's God. It's not that. It's that I'm currently, this is my reality. I've taken off all layers of this being, and this is my current reality. All right, so next is the cherubim, and then the seraphim. And according to, that's what they called, that's just, you can say that I'm doing that, but I'm in Saturn, which is all limitations. I've pushed all limitations. What comes next? What is that next thing over there? Neptune, which would be, everybody knows, full genius. Full genius. Now, what I tried to explain before we even started this is Metatron is the angel that works with all of the great minds. He worked with their minds. He put the unconscious and made the unconscious conscious. And that's what I do with all of the other deities, is take the unconscious, which is the 5D and above, but he makes the unconscious before it's actually been created. he gives them, you know what I mean? He gave them the symbols, the formulas, and they had to make the formula. And they got to coin it and give it words and names and stuff like that. But it all starts with basic geometric shapes from where I'm at. That's how he literally, it's not even crystal anymore. It's beyond the crystal grid. Really? Yeah, I can't really, that's what I mean about the visions. You know what I mean? Before, when I'm right here, right? I'm right here in the moon energy. This is the spirit realm. So I could see them day and night, night and day. They're walking around. I'm like, do you guys see these people? Like, I see dead people all the time. Like, all the fucking time I see dead people. Because I'm not down here, it doesn't mean I can't hear them. But it's a little bit harder for me to see them now. I don't just see them anymore because I'm not in this conscious. And I documented all of the, you know, the rise, if you will. The rise. Alright, going back to it. The soul must re-enter the absolute substance from whence it has emerged. But to accomplish this, they must develop all perfections, the germ of which is planted in them. And if they do not fulfill this condition during one life, they must commence another, a third, and a fourth, until they have acquired the condition which fits them for reunion with God. How could I do it? I've done it before. This isn't my first time doing it. I had the inner knowing how to do it. My higher self guided me up here. This isn't my first time. And in essence, from Lilith to Isis, I did it in my second life. Why? Because Lilith knew the tree. So I've always known how to do this, how to get back to God. But consciously is by taking off the flesh. And that's what I'm really here to teach you. I've already mastered it. I'm here to teach you. That's all I'm here to do. But to accomplish this, blah, blah, blah. According to the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia, how do you say this? Hasidic Jews hold familiar beliefs. In the 3rd century AD, the theologian Origen, one of the fathers of the early Christian church and its most accomplished biblical scholar, wrote, "By some inclination towards evil, certain souls come into bodies, first of men, then through their association with irrational passions, after the altered span of a human life, they are changed into beasts, from which they sink to a level of plants. From this condition they rise again through the same stages and are restored to their heavenly place." There are many passages in the Bible itself indicating that Christ and his followers were aware of the principle of reincarnation. Once the disciples of Jesus asked him about the Old Testament prophecy that Elias would reappear on the earth. In the Gospel of St. Matthew we read, "And Jesus answered them, Elias shall truly first come and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elias is come already, and he knew him not, and they knew him not. Then the disciples understood that he spake unto them John the Baptist, meaning he said that Elias was John the Baptist. In other words, Jesus declared that John the Baptist was reincarnated of the prophet Elias. I think he's talking about Elijah. They might have got this book fucked up. Aren't they talking about Elijah? In another inheritance, Jesus and his disciples and that's, Jesus resurrected the dead, which means he pulled the conscious back into the body. Same as I did as Isis with Osiris. You can say right there was no conscious. Ding! They're dead. They're a vegetable. There's no life in that body. He's brought him back. Lazarus and many others. Straight. Dead. Brought him back to life. He himself. Dead. And came back to life. The conscious was out of the body and had left the body. For all good reasons. They bled the body clean. And they made sure that he was going to die. Because he said he was going to. Like, no. We're going to make sure there's no way this guy can come back to life. I come back to life. Anyways, going on. The disciples asked Jesus, who sinned, the man or his parents, and that he was born blind? Regardless who had sinned, Jesus replied, Here has chance to show the work of God. Then he cursed the man. Now, had the man been born blind for a sin of his own, it must have been a sin done before his birth. That is, in a previous life. So why do we have such terrible childhoods? Well, I could tell you why mine fucking sucked. Why was I sexually abused through my whole childhood? Lilith, what did you do? I mean, come on, dude. That's pretty sad. I mean, sort of, if you didn't have a reason behind the season. In the essence, where's the grace in it? I don't have the memories. God's good on that one. Now, let's see here. And that's where it is. It's like, you know, why was my baby cursed at birth? Oh, what was your baby? Your baby was cursed before birth. And anyways, the Quran, another one. I have the Quran. And you were dead, and he brought you back to life. And he shall cause you to die, and shall bring you back to life. And in the end shall gather you unto himself. Oh yeah, I said that yesterday in the Revelations, that I die, that they kill me and I come back to life. You know that. I'm not afraid. Are you afraid? It says, they shall not be able to harm me until that day. We'll know when that... All right, it's time. Go ahead, kill me. Kill me! Get it over with. Wait till I come back. I'll fuck you up. Go ahead, get it done. This isn't the first time, bro. And it is. It's in this life. I'll die twice. How many times... Morgan, she's like literally died for certain... She's literally been dead for like minutes in her life. Like she had not those near death where they actually die and then they come back like a couple minutes later or something. I don't know how many times she did it. She told me that. She's had multiple ones. She has this hole in her skull and shit. Truthfully, yeah, bro. People die and then they come back to life. My favorite one is the one that happened in Texas, like over Christmas. They were about to take his organs out, you guys. Can you imagine? I would have to retire after that. You would always fear that would happen with everybody now. Imagine, dude, your whole life digging in dead bodies. You turn your headphones on and you're about to cut their fucking head open and, you know, you're getting in their cavities and shit. They were about to take out his organs, and the motherfucker woke up. True story. Go look it up. It happened in Texas. He died already once. His family mourned him. They were preparing for... They put all that money down, dude. He was dead. Within 7 days, you got to get this guy in the ground, unless you're going to cremate him. But still, you got that long. It should be... A wake should be in 7 days, you know, or whatever they call them. They were about to take out his organs, bro. He was fully dead for as long as it took him to pull him out of the ice chest. He was still dead. And then he woke the fuck up, bro. Don't tell me this doesn't happen. Don't argue with me. Don't argue with scripture. Don't argue with textbooks, bro. Don't argue with real life. Go look at how many people have literally been flatlined and then came back to life within either minutes or however long, and they come back and they tell you about the afterlife. Meaning what? They left the consciousness of the mind. And they went there, and they came back. It's happened. Don't act stupid on my page, please. Don't act like what I say is literally impossible. When I show you it's happened time and time, and here it'll do again. You're not afraid to die? No. But I did have a cry, I told you the other day, of when I finally leave. When I finally leave this planet. It's been an eternity. I wasn't always in lives. But you have to understand, how does it work? I am the archetype of God in the female form, which is God in the feelings. Right? So even if I didn't take form in a body, it was still my spirit that was put into other bodies to elevate the consciousness of the feelings. People still experience feelings without me putting all of my feelings into one body. All of your feelings that run through your body is Goddess. That's the divine feminine. Every feeling you have, from stubbing your fucking toe to after you take a drink of your favorite drink and that awe moment where just you feel good, to the moment that feeling that you get when you know what I mean, pull your head out from under the water, whether it was at a pool or a beach or just in the bathtub. All those unusual, wonderful feelings. That's the divine feminine. That's what I was made of. All those unbelievable actions that you can take, all the things you can do with this body that you never even knew you could do, all the things you can push it through, all its powers and abilities to carry more than 50 pounds, to, you know what I mean, to all the wonderful things it can create. That's your divine masculine. That's God. He gave you the ability in a body to create. He gave you the feelings to create with. Unfortunately, you're not creating with your feelings. You're creating from your mind, which is just basic mass consciousness. Everybody's been programmed the same. Let's get back to you and your virtuous self. Oh gosh. We were talking about Jesus. The Quran says something. Among the followers of Islam, Sufis, how do you say it, guys? Sufis especially believe that death is no loss because the immortal soul continues passing through different bodies. Jalaluddin Rumi. Whoa, is that your full name, Rumi? Holy moly, Rumi. A famous Sufi poet writes, I died as mineral and became a plant. I died as a plant and rose as an animal. I died as an animal and I was a man. Why should I fear when I was less by dying? The timeless Vedic scripture of India confirms that the soul, according to its identification of material nature, takes one of 8,400,000 forms, and once embodied in a certain species of life, evolves automatically from lower to higher forms until attaining a human body. Thus, the major Western religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, have definite threads of reincarnation. Official custodians of dogma ignore or deny them. I'm a little out of breath. I normally can go for a lot longer, but I'm going to move into the cards now. We'll stop here where it starts to talk about the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. We're going through all of the stages of where this has been documented before we get into it. Where am I? There's a place for me. I'm a transcendental soul. Science calls me that. Interest in reincarnation and Indian philosophy also ran strong among American transcendentalists, including Emerson, Whitman, and Thoreau. I don't know. Emerson wrote, "It is the secret of the world that all beings subsist and do not die, but only retire a little from sight and afterwards return again. Nothing is dead. Men fray themselves from dead and endure mocking funerals and mournful obituaries. And there they stand looking out the window." I'm seeing Pac in the whole soul tribe. Hold on, guys. Looking out the window. Sound as well as in the new and strange disguise. I'm not going to stop. Okay. Pac and Kobe. Obviously, they didn't become ascending masters. They did their community service. They did have karma. Part of the agreement was I would take their karma, which means I would take their lessons. They could learn their lessons through my life so they didn't have to relive a whole life to learn just a few lessons. Okay? So, that's how that works. Now, when I'm done, they ascend with me. Where they go after that, I want to say they'll separate, but they've always been loyal. So they probably won't. And we, as a soul tribe, them and my current, soul tribe members that are incarnated here, we all ascend to a new reality together. Together we rise. Whether you know it or not, my soul tribe here, I am rising their consciousness and forcing them to take off their flesh. They're doing it so motherfucking slow, but they're doing it. My prime example is my twin flame, Marshall Mathers. Little by little, he's working through his thoughts, working through his emotions, working through his fears, letting go of his past and allowing himself to take the adventure of the rest of his life by doing things he's never done before and facing fears, breaking his own society or whatever limitations that have kept this man locked away from us for the last 25 years. It works. I see it in him. And he is a mighty man that eventually can take the mic and teach others. But until then, it does work. They're not masters in it, so they're not ready to speak on it. You know, once God has made, you've had that come to Christ moment, you're ready to spread that word. Let me tell you what Jesus has done in my life. It don't matter who you are. You're ready to tell the world how God has changed your life and how he works for you and how you work with him regularly to have a better life. Can I get an amen? Amen! Alright, so, with all that being said, it wasn't always about Christ, but trust me, before our time, I was before Christ's time. And there was universal laws and rules put in by God. He broke his rules with God, with Christ. He broke his own covenant with Christ. Now, those of the fearful, of the old, of the traditional, would not break that covenant for anyone because we were loyal servants of our God. Meaning the old religions that still exist. They pray to a real God, but they can't accept that message of forgiveness because of fear that, what if I get this wrong? I'm not going to abandon my beliefs in the hope that I can just be forgiven. I have to live in forgiveness. Kind of situation like that, where they have to atone and they have to follow the rules of the, you know what I mean? The laws of the flesh, as Jesus said, versus the freedom of the spirit. He gives you the ability to be free in your spirit, but you'll have to break the laws of your flesh. The laws of not going out breaking all of our laws, but the boxes that we put on ourselves that this is the rules. We can't eat meat, we can't do this, you can't do that. All these laws given to us by religion, the laws of the flesh. If we don't follow these laws of the flesh, then we can't inherit the kingdom of God. We go by the original laws put in stone, the 10 Commandments. And then the new covenant was mostly the biggest. Do unto others as you shall have done unto yourself. Meaning kindness, forgiveness, love, and compassion. That's the new covenant. You had to keep the 10 rules plus this. It doesn't sound so hard, but it does, because you have to break the rules to be loving, understanding, compassionate, and forgiving. It breaks all boundaries. And there's rules against that. We're not loving to those people. We're not understanding to those people. We're not forgiving of those people. We're not compassionate towards those people. Who are those people? That's the freaking laws of your mind. You fear people because of what the books have told you. For whatever reason, you fear them. It was so funny. I made jokes of it. People feared the Venezuelans of Colorado, especially in Aurora, because of the media that had been spread all over the fucking U.S. and probably further. And I kept making jokes. I'm in the hotel with all the Venezuelans. Pull up. Pull up. I myself, biologically, am Venezuelan, so it was quite lovely to be, you know what I mean? Your immigration problem was my, I would say, reunion. In my life in this life, was I able to access my blood, family, or culture until they came to my country, and I watched how you treated them. I was ashamed of my country to treat my ancestors this way. They're very vibrant, great people, but at the same time, they were left in very desperate terms. They managed to keep that shit, only a little bit, and there wasn't that many of them. The rest of them, they just were trying to coexist with us. They could have been I live with a bunch of them, and they could have been a great help to our country had you guys not treated them like a fucking disease. Anyways, another time. Do you want me to read any of these? Yes, he said, let's read the crossing over card. So, why are those truths there? Because you need to understand those. The more we start to understand Metatron's cube, consciousness, putting all of these pieces together, the more you can activate your Merkaba and be part of the spirit rather than just your day-to-day thoughts. We're going to read number 40. I'm going to keep these teachings going. I'm going to go from here to self-realization, psychic information, all of this good stuff. We're going to get you awoken. Let's see, number 40. I went to 44, which is transmutation. That's funny because it's 40 and 41 right there. Transition. The geometry of this card explains beyond the flower of life, representing communication from beyond. As you stand at the crossroads between dimensions, and I'm Hecate. That's what got me here. I integrated my Hecate, which was a being of the other side that never took form, that stayed in the middle. That's what got me here. It's because I took on that form, not in a human, not a living form, but a deity that lived in the in-between. And that's how I got myself stuck in between. I was in the Persephone, and then I went into my Hecate. As you stand at the crossroads between dimensions, bravely face your future, knowing that you are not alone, that you always have access to guidance and assistance. All you have to do is ask. The transition taking place in your life right now will be intimately affect those around you and will chart your life's current direction. It may not be in your nature to ask for help, but that is the most appropriate action at this time. This is not a time to go at it alone. You may decide to seek advice from a professional counselor or teacher. Your choice may be to consult your personal guides or angels, or seek guidance from your higher self. The important point is choosing this card is that you accept that there are times when each of us require assistance in moving through the inevitable challenges and transitions of this lifetime. For any of you, I don't say this too often, but if you need my help in some part of the area of your life, you can contact me directly as the High Priestess Phoenix, the number 6 at email. Just throwing that out there. Reversed. This card indicates that an ending is taking place in your life. It may be the end of a relationship, a job, or a life phase. She can feel it too. That's what Morgan says. She's like, it's something, we're changing big time. I can feel it. I told her, I was like, Morgan, I got confirmation today that I'm moving on. I told everybody. I was like, I know it. I'm getting ready to move on. It happens sometimes weeks before it happens, but I know. I'm given knowing that it's time to move on. She's like, I know. You're coming with me. I'm getting housing and you're coming with me. It's like, if that's the case, Morgan, and whatever the case may be, but your situation could even be more serious as knowing that you or a loved one is about to make a transition to another side. Reach for guidance that will help you gently through this time of transition. There's a bunch of them dying. They're going. Ozzy crossed over. Hulk Hogan crossed over. Another person I saw today, I can't remember. I believe he was an amazing musician or something. He crossed over. They just crossed over. Will Ozzy take another life? Not willingly, but he's got to learn some lessons. He gave into the flesh a little bit too much in his life. He'll have to learn to overcome those temptations in the next. But he left us, you know what I mean? He left us some wonderful words. All I'll ever hear is, Sharon! Sharon! That's everybody. We'll hear him yelling at his wife for the rest of time. His music, perhaps, but I'll hear him forever yelling at her. Forever. He'll call to me one day. He'll make me go over. I'm sure they will. Offer the love that will make the journey easier, and accept that even though death is not the end, but constitutes movement into another dimension of being. Hey guys, we all die, bro. We all die. Hulk Hogan was only 71. I lived till 99. Was it Clint Eastwood? Clint Eastwood? It's 95 is what they're showing me? Maybe it was him. I don't know. We all die. But that's not the end of us. That's just the end of this shitty-ass life. Thank God for that. I won't take another life. They're trying to convince me. And of course, I have many souls that will be stuck in the, in nowhere land with me if I don't choose to take us on another adventure. As I hear them say, to live is an adventure. I don't know, as I close my eyes, I'm like, I'm going to put this in another body. I don't want to do this. And that's it. It's like, I had to do this. There was no more time. I'd waited till the last bit of time to do all of this, but it was meant to be done at this time. Couldn't have been done any sooner. And in the essence, it's like, where have you been all this time? What are you talking about? Time's not real. What if I told you that my soul tribe, my twin flames, all of us left at the same exact time? We were all together when we left. But you're all different ages. Time wasn't there time existed when we got here. We left home at the same time. We sat together and made a plan with our little crowns. We promised to meet up. We made our contract. I remember it. All of us sat there together and made the plan to come. And here we came. He said Ali came last. We all left at the same time. Just because he's youngest doesn't mean he left later than us. He didn't wait for us to get here to come. We all left at the same time from where we were. But when we got here, we got here at different times. Why? The travel of time. This. We all left at the same time, but we all had to go through our feelings, and were born at different times. We all left together, and even though we'll die at different times, we go back together, all of us. It doesn't matter who leaves first. They're still here with us until we leave, just like Pac. He may have left the body first, but he hasn't gone anywhere without us. He has not left us, nor has Jesus. Time isn't real. I teach you that. That's the biggest thing I'm here to teach you, is that you base time on the sun and the moon. But as this planet is about to shift, it'll throw you off. You can't follow that clock anymore. If the sun's not at the same time every day, then you don't know what time it is. If the sun goes dark, you don't know what time it is. And if it wasn't sunny all day, would you live the same life you live today? If you didn't have all those hours of sun, could you do your job? Would they keep you at work that many hours? If it was dark all day long, would they keep businesses open till 11? If they've been in the dark since 6 a.m. and just stay in the dark? Just saying. How would you know what time it is to eat, what time it is to sleep, what to do with your time? The biggest construct that you guys have upon yourselves is time. I have only this much time. You don't have all the time in the world, but you're not limited. And that's something as simplistic as age. I'm 42 years old in this skin, but I'm the oldest thing that's ever been. It just means this body's been here for 42 years. Not me. Not me. And a lot of wonderful old people. Again, you gotta watch that movie I watched last night, The Nonas. That was beautiful. I don't have anybody, so it was really beautiful. It's like, the older they get, the younger they get. They don't know how to work a phone. They need your help with everything. But they're still young. They're just old. The body's old. That's it. And they're so mad that it's old, that they can't make it do young things. Because they still feel so young. That's how I feel too. I've been wanting to do some shit and I'm like, oh, I can't. My old ass body won't let me do I can't stay up that late. You become young again. You like get 8 hours of sleep and shit. You're on a food schedule. You might wear a diaper at some point. Can I get a pull-up size adult? I just want my snack back and a nap. They're always cold. They need a blanket. They're funny, huh? You gotta take them to the doctors all the time and make sure they're healthy. It's really funny. I'll be old one day. How old? Fucking as old as I am. Shit, I don't get any older. We don't really. The body gets older. And that's where you could look at like these old motherfuckers that are no wiser than they were when they were teenagers. Like, man, you're just getting old. Your skin is just getting old. You are not learning anything from life. You are the same idiot 18-year-old that I met, back in high school. You ever gonna grow up, bro? Are you ever gonna get any smarter from your experiences? No, because he's lived on the same block. He still lives in his mom's house. He's had no new experiences. He's no wiser. Something to think about. Hey, I love you guys. This isn't our first time meeting. You've probably seen me in one life or another. Welcome. Why is there so many fucking people here? Because we're all back for this one, dude. We all had to come back for this life, bro. All of us have the same ticking time clock to get our shit done. And if you don't, they told you what's going to happen. You'll be reincarnated in some bullshit in a different reality. It will not be here. It will not be here. After 35 years, this will be a clean reality where you don't experience karma. So if you have karma, you'll have to experience on what I believe will be Mars, because that's what humanity keeps trying to get to. Weirdos. I want to see this. I want you guys to go, all of you to go to Mars. That's great. I love that idea. I love that idea. The fact that they're trying to escape the planet, they're trying to what? Escape. They're inevitable. They believe the planet's going to die and they want to run away and leave everyone behind. That's the perfect mentality to get you locked in a dark fucking reality. Go ahead. All of you board that ship. Non-believers, of course, because the believers know that God will make all things new and we're not going nowhere. That our planet is protected because he created it and he loves it so fucking much. But not them. Their fears. They're packing up their kids and they're, you know what I mean? They're trying to get there. Tesla and Bezos is trying to get you off the planet to save your life. Meanwhile, he's going to leave the rest of us to die. Does that sound right to you? That's really what they think. We're gonna die or you're gonna die. You guys are on the way to fucking nowhere land, thinking that your little rocket ship, and then there's nothing there waiting for you than your big head. I don't know, man. Good luck with that. I think I'd rather tend to the planet that I currently live on than try to inhabit another one. Anyways, fucking Thanos type people over here. Snap my finger. God's gonna snap his finger. Hey, I love you guys. We'll teach more about stuff you can't understand, but I'm gonna try to make you. Why? Because I'm the Lilith and I'm giving you that fucking apple of knowledge and wisdom. God let me, bro. God let me. He told me to. Why? Because he wanted to see what you would do. What you gonna do with this understanding? Do you even understand it? I don't know. Hey, love yous later. Bye-bye now.